All right, so now let's do this example here. So we're going to graph these two exponential functions. Notice that they do have the form. So here the b, which is the base, we call that the base, and then this is the exponent. So the base is 2 here. The base here is a half, okay? So one of the characteristics of an exponential function is that it always has a common ratio, right? So each term always has a common ratio. So, but if we're graphing these, so in this case here, for every value of x, we're taking the 2 to that exponent. So if x is 0, f of x is 0, right? So 2 to 0 is or excuse me, 1, not 0. So 2 to the 0 is 1. So when x is 0, what? Oh boy. Yeah. Yep. So when x is 0, we have that, right? Okay. When x is, oh, let's do this. I forgot. -1, -3. Let's do that. Okay, so then let's do 1. Well, then that means at 1, we're at 2. And when we're at 3, we're at 8. Or excuse me, let's do 2. If x is 2, we're at 4. We'll stop there. Now, what about -1? And -1, this becomes a half, right? So at -1, we're right about here. At -2, we're at a fourth. So here we're like maybe right about there, right? And so as we go more negative, what's happening? It's getting closer and closer to the x-axis. As we go more positive, it's going off to infinity. And so we get something that looks like that. All right. Now, what about a half? Okay, let's start with a half. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the same thing. So when x is 0, we get 1. When x is 1, we get a half. When x is 2, we get a fourth. Oops. Well, yeah, about right there. Now what about going negative? What about -1? Well, now it's the reciprocal of this, which is 2. So at -1, we're at 2. And then at -2, we're at 4. And so what do we have? We have something that looks like this. So in this case here, when the base is 1/2, we have it goes off, as it goes off to positive infinity, as x goes off to positive infinity, this is getting closer and closer to the x-axis. And when you go off to negative infinity, it's going off to positive infinity. Okay? So notice how when this is 2, right, bigger than 1, it's growing, right? It's has an increasing function. When x is less than 1, but bigger than 0, it's decreasing. Okay? So something to recognize.